Okay, so it's Saturday morning here. And we're on lesson 213. It's another review lesson of a workbook of A Course in Miracles. And it's 213. I am not a body. I am free. For I am still as God created me. All things are lessons God would have me learn. And when I read this, it was interesting because it just, the next little passage just so much harkens to the miracle principles. And the reason why it makes so much sense is because we've studied these principles of miracles, which, how should I say it? They give us an understanding of the action of miracles within space and time. As a new sort of technology, different from the way we've been trying to solve problems, trying to free ourselves from situations that seem to repeat over and over again. A lesson is a miracle which God offers to me in place of thoughts, because a miracle is a thought. I made that hurt me. What I learn of him becomes the way I am set free, and so I choose to learn his lessons and forget my own. And of course, when we choose to learn his lessons, we become happy learners.
Hey, Terrence, Richard, just checking in. Got the weekend to myself. Was wondering if you want to hook up for some chow. Give me a call.
Okay.
245-1147.
It's one of my local friends. He's a veteran, and I guess he's around this weekend. Maybe we'll go out for dinner tonight. So a lesson is a miracle which God offers to me in place of thoughts I made that hurt me. What I learn of him becomes the way I am set free, and so I choose to learn his lessons and forget my own. And I think when we think about what our own lessons are that we're forgetting, what we're learning that we're forgetting, is that the lessons that we thought we needed to learn as egos, as bodies in the world of space and time, were all based on being afraid, being fearful and guilty, and attempting to protect ourselves from what occurs to people in space and time, that we observe other people happening, that we observe happen to other people. And so we attempt to find success. We attempt to find joy. We attempt to find peace. We attempt to find the things that we think we need in the world around us. And we have been learning since we were children how to go about satisfying the needs that we perceive we have in order to survive in the world of space and time. And get to the end, I guess, which is always seems to be death. And those are the lessons. Those are the lessons. I thought that I was going to have to learn in order to survive space and time, and which seemed to me the possibilities were out the window when I was much younger, and try to behave myself and be good enough so that God rewards me and I land up in heaven rather than getting punished and ended up in hell. Now, those are all lessons that I would have thought that I was learning that I can forget about now, throw right out the window, because they have nothing to do with who I am as God created me and what I'm here to remember, so as to return to being free, because I am not a body, I am free. And it's God's thought which sets me free, because God gives his thought freely to me as my being within his own freedom. God's will is free. It's unbound. It's unfettered. I don't know how, The idea of free will is a very difficult concept. It's a very difficult idea. The idea of free will, as God created you and I, bears no resemblance whatsoever to what we think free will is here within space and time. And when we experience our will as God created us, free, and, how should I say this, one with Him, one with His will. When we experience that, all the thoughts of all the things we thought we were required to do in order to either achieve something or be free, and what we thought that freedom was useful for, will go right out the window, because the freedom that God created you as to be with bears no resemblance to what we think free will is here, as we attempt to navigate our way through this fearful sojourn through space and time. Here we've condemned ourselves to experiencing free will as choice. So this is why so much of the course is based around the utilization of choice. And we're always choosing for that which we seem to not know of in space and time. But when we choose for it and we experience the result of that choice as freeing us from space and time, we recognize that we are choosing for something that we can discover in this world, but is not of this world, because we are not of this world, and this world is merely an illusion. And when I was looking at it again, as I read this, lesson is a miracle, which God offers to me in place of thoughts I made that hurt me. What I learn of Him becomes the way I am set free. And so I choose to learn His lessons and forget my own. When I read that, it immediately reminded me of miracles principles, and so I opened them up and I just started to sort of quickly read through them, because I know there are definitely miracle principles that will align with the sentiments that are being expressed in the words in order for us to experience what we are beyond the words and the sentiments that they seem to offer us as humans in space and time. A miracle is a reversal of physical order because it brings more love to the giver and the receiver. In a sense, in reality, that's a statement of how creation worked. A miracle, the miracle of creation, actually allowed there to be more love for both that which was created, which was us as love, and that which created us as love like Himself, which is God. So a miracle is a reversal of physical order because it brings more love to the giver and to the receiver. It's greater than the sum of its parts in that sense. And it's a reversal of the temporal order, and we see that mirrored. We see the idea that's a reversal of the temporal order mirrored in this lesson when it says, what I learn of Him becomes the way I am set free, because what we learn of the ego here in space and time is how to keep ourselves in the prison house of space and time and physical bodies. So the reversal of temporal order is a demonstration to us within our own experience that there is no causation in the world of space and time, and all causation is divine. And when temporal order is reversed, the miracle is actually an undoing of decisions we've made about ourselves in the past that have imprisoned us, And in that reversal, we are free because we are undoing the decisions that we seem to have made within the manufacturing of this world of space and time. And ultimately, all decisions lead to home, because we're learning to choose for that which is not in the world. Because, as this is saying, um, all the thoughts I made that hurt me are what make up the world. The world is an attack on God. And me being one with God is therefore an attack on me. And the insanity is, if I'm the maker of the world and I'm responsible for this world, and the secret of salvation is I but do this to myself, the initial thought would be, well, why the hell did I do it to myself in the first place? And that we begin to understand when we recognize that we've forgotten the nature of who we are, and the reality, and our ability to create, and our ability for to, and the necessity, not in terms of need, as in we're needy or lacking, but in terms of the laws of minds, that you must get the result of your own decision. So while you could not make a reality in opposition to reality, since reality is whole, singular, and contains no opposition within it, nor is anything opposed to it, since it is all there is, you couldn't create a reality unlike reality. So, as it says in the Bible, I simply fell asleep and dreamt of this interval of time in the midst, while your life continues in eternity. So life is in eternity. It's, of course, as eternity means there's no time. There's no place where eternity and time meet. Eternity is one of the factors that the soul, the mind, the attributes of God, the attributes of heart and mind, time and space are the attributes that are taken on by the heart and mind, utilizing the power of our that we were created with, so as to manufacture this. It's like, watch this. This tiny block of space and time wherein which we think we're prisoners. And the reason why I'm laughing is, I don't know if any of you have ever made one of these videos, but I'm looking at this tiny little block of space and time that I seem to be talking to myself to talk to you, to express something that is much more easy to experience and much more quick and efficient than any of the words I'll ever say to you are, actually. And yet, in the commitment that I've made, and the joy it is in remembering the truth of who I am, and the willingness to share it with you as God shares it with me, as my brother Jesus shares it, and all that is real shares, and that includes you. That includes you, whether or not you remember or are aware of the fact that we're sharing life, eternal life, right here, right now, beyond this hallucination, this box of space and time. It's just simply true because that's how God created us. And there's no way to be bound because there's nothing to be bound to in eternity. How are you going to bind eternity? How are you going to bind that which is infinite? How are you going to bind that which is only love? The attempt, which is what the world of space and time is merely a dream of forgetting of your reality, wherein which, although you have forgotten it, it's been relegated to a place within your mind that seems to be inaccessible to you because of the preoccupation that you have had for so long and so unquestioningly with the world and with the seeming life that we think we live here. Now, when we begin to feel, and many of you do this, the futility as it sets in more readily than perhaps it did before, and that feeling of deja vu, well, I've done this before, the foreboding that always comes with the foibles of space and time, and the necessity for life, seeming life and time to end, only to begin again. Or when you look at it, what little is accomplished in the space of time that we have, this little life that we seem to be given within this larger life leaves us, in a futile condition of accomplishing that which is going to be totally meaningless any second now. And you've begun to recognize that feeling and question, is that all there is? And when Bill and Helen came together, there must be better ways. You and I come together to try to find the better way. We recognize we no longer want to try the ways of the world. We could always go back to them, but we no longer want to try the ways of the world because we've tried everything just about that we could think of, and everything we have tried we seem to have thought of. And if the outcome has never been satisfactory, what would be the point of continuing to have another thought to that effect? As this says, a lesson is a miracle which God offers to me in place of thoughts I made that hurt myself. So now I'm going to stop thinking the way I've been thinking, and you're going to stop thinking with me for a second, and we're going to ask for a better way. And as Jesus says, we're not going to look into the past, wherein which we found the need here and now for the better way, because the most we're going to get is where we're at now, the recognition that we need a better way. So we're not going to look into the past so that the future won't be like the past, and we're going to allow the better way to come from God himself in a shared thought of wholeness, love, reality that resonates within our eternal and infinite nature, wherein which we can begin to understand who we are now within the world of space and time, because a miracle reverses the laws. The mirrors we just read over here, a miracle. A miracle is a reversal of physical order. So now we don't have to lose, we can gain understanding within the particulars of the association of events we're experiencing, learn something that we could not have learned if we continued to look at the past, and apply it here and now, and have a brand new experience that no longer hurts us, but glorifies all of us, because we're doing it in the unity of the brotherhood of each other, of man, through the utilization of the power and grace of God, because we've asked for his thoughts, because we've come to a firm understanding, and we are resolute in recognizing that it's been our thoughts that have caused the predicaments we've been involved in and have imprisoned us to seeking solutions in order to get us out of the effects that were caused by the decisions that were made. Granted, it's all hallucination, which makes it easily understandable why the miracle principles are so work. An exchange, miracle versus physical order. It's an exchange. Supplies for lack, requires purification. They're natural. They're vertical. It's a vertical ascent from the horizontal axis, wherein which you come down. It's like the earth is turning. It's like the earth is spinning, or time is passing, and you're on time, you're on time, and you're passing with time. A miracle allows you to spring for a second outside of the block of space and time. It doesn't eliminate that block of space and time, but it allows you to spring beyond it for a second as it still continues to move, and when you come down, you're ahead of where you left from, yet you retain the memory of what was gained in that space and time from the divine rather than the world. That's a lesson brought to us by God, which is why they shorten time. So something that would have taken you a progression of space, linearity, who knows how long? Jesus says sometimes up to 1,000 years. Something that could have taken you 1,000 years to learn, you can learn in an instant. Now, just look at it this way. If Jesus says there are things that could take you 1,000 years to learn, and yet you're looking at a lifetime of most of 100 years, he must be talking to a you that is not based in space and time, is not limited in space and time, and is known to him but is unknown to you, because you have no idea how you could use time 1,000 years to learn a lesson when all you know of is the space and time and the confinement of the body you think you're existing right now. So all this that miracles have to offer, and they have to offer because I'm not a body and I'm free and I'm still as God created me, and it renders the body and the space and time within which the body seems to occupy, none of it's real, and all of it is subject to the mind rather than the mind and the heart being subject to it. That's the reversal of temporal order as well. And so I choose to learn his lessons and forget my own. So we're going to forget our lessons, and we're going to ask instead. Remember I said yesterday, we stop. Doesn't matter what the form looks like. We don't have to be confused. We can just be grateful because answers from God free us. Eliminate fear and guilt. So we stop, not reflect upon the form, but we reflect upon what we really want within, which is the peace of God, or to know God as love, or understanding from the Holy Spirit. However it works for you to understand that you're asking a question, not of the ego or anything in the world of space and time, but of the divinity that is beyond, has been given to you to answer the question so you can advance in space and time in joy, happiness, and freedom, rather than to continue to entangle yourself in it, because you're not a body, you are free.